Trump tweets blast Cummings and Sharpton. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. At the end, comment and let us know what you think. Welcome to the Kingdom Report. I'm Yeshua ben Yeshua of the House of David. In the name of Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe, and Yeshua HaMashiach, also known as Jesus the Christ, Shalom. On Sunday, new tweets from President Trump doubled down on his criticism of Congressman Elijah Cummings, this time calling the House Oversight Committee Chairman a racist, despite mainstream media's insistence that Trump's initial tweets were racist themselves. Trump tweeted, "If racist Elijah Cummings would focus more of his energy on helping the good people of his district and Baltimore itself, perhaps progress could be made in fixing the mess he has helped to create over many years of incompetent leadership," adding that Cummings' oversight of his Baltimore district is, quote, "a joke." In Trump's initial tweets, he called Cummings a brutal bully for his harsh dressing down of a Homeland Security official over the detention facilities at the southern border, saying that living conditions in the congressman's Baltimore district are far worse.
When we hear about stories coming out from you and your agency that everything is pretty good and you're doing a great job, I guess you feel like you're doing a great job, right? Is that what you're saying?
We're doing our level best in a very challenging.
What does that mean? What does that mean when a child is sitting in their own feces, can't take a shower? Come on, man. What's that about? None of us would have our children in that position.
On Saturday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defended Cummings' leadership of the House Oversight Committee and his Baltimore district. Continuing last week's criticism of Trump's tweets on the so-called squad, Pelosi once again characterized the president's comments as racist, saying, quote, "We all reject racist attacks against Representative Cummings and support his steadfast leadership." In response, the president tweeted, "There is nothing racist in stating plainly what most people already know, that Elijah Cummings has done a terrible job for the people of his district and of Baltimore itself. Dems always play the race card when they are unable to win with facts. Shame." In his initial tweet on Cummings, the president said that the congressman's district is, quote, "considered the worst in the USA." But it was Trump's description of Cummings' district as, quote, "a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess" that drew the collective ire of Democrats. CNN's Victor Blackwell, a man of color, commented on the controversy.
This morning, the president attacked another member of Congress on Twitter. This time, it's House Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings. He wrote this: "Cummings' district is a disgusting, rat and rodent infested mess. If he spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this very dangerous and filthy place. No human being would want to live there." Infested. That's usually reserved for references to rodents and insects, but we've seen the president invoke infestation to criticize lawmakers before. You see a pattern here? Just 2 weeks ago, President Trump attacked 4 minority congresswomen. Why don't they go back to the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Reminder, 3 of them were born here. All of them are American. Infested, he says. A week before his inauguration, January 2017, Congressman John Lewis should spend more time on fixing and helping his district, which is in horrible shape and falling apart, not to mention crime-infested. Donald Trump has tweeted more than 43,000 times. He's insulted thousands of people, many different types of people. But when he tweets about infestation, it's about black and brown people. September 2014, at the height of an urgent health emergency, why are we sending thousands of ill-trained soldiers into Ebola-infested areas of Africa? Bring the plague to the U.S.? Obama is so stupid. Infested, he says. There's a revolution going on in California. So many sanctuary areas want out of this ridiculous crime-infested and breeding concept. Infested, he says. The president says about Congressman Cummings' district, that no human would want to live there. You know who did, Mr. President? I did. From the day I was brought home from the hospital to the day I left for college. And a lot of people I care about still do. There are challenges, no doubt, but people are proud of their community. I don't want to sound self-righteous, but people get up and go to work there. They care for their families there. They love their children who pledge allegiance to the flag, just like people who live in districts of congressmen who support you, sir. They are Americans too.
This absurd example of the Democrats' answer to, quote, toxic masculinity should serve as a call for all members of mainstream America to the Great Awakening. Selah. The latest false news narrative coming from the globalist media is now centered on the word infested, adding the I word to their long list of manufactured racial terminology for political purposes. The Democrats' fake news media arm is now saturating the airwaves with the preposterous notion that if anyone other than a, quote, person of color uses the I word, they must be considered a racist. In echoing the sentiments of Democrat leadership nationwide, Baltimore's Mayor Bernard C. Young accused the president of denigrating the city, declaring Trump's tweets to be dangerous and referring to Congressman Cummings as a patriot and a hero.
We all know our city to be home to a collection of unique and inviting neighborhoods, world-class medical institution, and a thriving research and tech scene. Baltimore has a lot to offer. We can never allow nasty and hurtful rhetoric to go unchecked by the President of the United States of America. I want to bring up my partner in government, the City Council President, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to all my colleagues and the Police Commissioner for being here today. We know that Baltimore is a great American city, and like cities across the country, we face significant challenges. And there is no better and greater champion for Baltimore and cities like Baltimore than Congressman Elijah Cummings. He has undoubtedly been and continues to be a hero across Baltimore and across our great country. It should be beneath the dignity of the President of the United States, the person who's supposed to be the leader of the free world, to disparage and personally attack a great American city and another great American leader. However, it's clear that it is not beneath President Trump. The president should be ashamed that instead of upholding his oath of office to put the greater good of all American citizens, no matter where they live and who they voted for above all else, that he decided to do the opposite.
Fox News contributor Kimberly Klasik's on-the-scene report preceded President Trump's initial tweets on Cummings and his Baltimore district.
Our next guest is a Maryland resident who took these videos to see what it's really like. Joining us now with more Republican strategist Kimberly Klasik. Kimberly, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what did you find was going on in Cummings' district?
Yeah, so, there is a crisis at the border, but there's also a crisis in Baltimore. And I don't think many people realize this, but Congressman Cummings represents the most dangerous district in America. So I went into the district to basically ask people if they were scared of Trump. Congressman Cummings said on a talk show on last Sunday, I believe, that his constituents were afraid of Trump. And as I go in and I start talking to people, I realize just what the living conditions are for not just the residents, but even the children there, and what they've been playing around. There's abandoned row homes filled with trash, homeless addicts, empty needles that they have used, and it's really right next door. So it's attracting rodents, cockroaches, you name it. But, to have Congressman Cummings talk about the situation at the border is just, it's laughable because the conditions in his own district, and a lot of people said he hasn't even been there in a while, are atrocious. And not to mention, those that live there, I didn't find anyone that said they were afraid of Trump. this is a deadly district where we had, I guess 2 days ago, 8 people were shot in less than 5 hours. So to say that they're afraid of Trump is just ridiculous. But I did find out that there are many people that are actually on board with Trump's immigration policies. So I don't know who he was talking to in his district, but it wasn't the people I spoke to.
Help us, because we're helping y'all. Y'all want our votes. Y'all want us to write Congress. Y'all want us to do this and do this. Y'all need to help us. Once y'all start helping us, maybe the neighborhood, maybe Baltimore will get better.
I think, honestly, Congressman Cummings, like many Democrats, are just in there for the photo ops. Because, you know, he's been in office in some capacity in Baltimore City for 33 years. He started out as a Maryland delegate and then was elected to Congress. So why he doesn't go into his district and actually take a look at the conditions, I really don't know. But as you can see, they're pleading for help. And Baltimore, you know, it's gotten worse under his watch. And so I really think, you know, obviously there is a crisis at the border, but there's a crisis in his own backyard, and he really should pay attention.
According to the people who live under Cummings' watch and the images of his deplorable district, the president has accurately described the inhumane conditions existing in that section of the city. Fox News contributor Lawrence Jones went to the streets of Baltimore to hear from the people.
Hey guys, good morning. Right behind me is the Baltimore City Hall, where a lot of the practices in that building have led to the poverty destruction of a community. I went down into Baltimore, in the community, to talk with people to see how they're feeling, to get some of the distress off of their heart. Take a look at it.
When you look at Baltimore and everything that's happening, would it be safe to say that Baltimore is in a crisis?
Wow, yes, I would honestly say yes. You know, from the drug selling to the killings, you know, the poverty, you know, it's just crazy.
What do you see when you see Baltimore? Poverty, crime, what do you see?
I see poverty, crime, I see crime as a way of life.
I personally don't even want to live in Baltimore anymore, and I'm afraid to actually raise a family here, and this is my home.
The crisis is not just the crime, but the crisis starts downtown with the government.
Tell me about your leaders here, right?
Leaders?
Yeah, your elected officials. What are they doing?
I think they sold out.
When you look at Baltimore, describe what do you see? The boarding houses, drugs. Tell me what you see.
I just see a city going wrong, the wrong way, because I grew up, I've been here 58 years, and it was such an honor, pleasure to live here. And what I see now, something I just drive through, and I'm almost in tears of what it has become.
I love Baltimore, but Baltimore is like a sewage right now. You know, the president called our city rat infested. That is true.
It is bringing great attention. It has brought attention so much so to the president.
On Monday, President Trump responded to a tweet in defense of Cummings by Al Sharpton the night before, writing, "I have known Al for 25 years, went to fights with him and Don King, always got along well. He loved Trump. He would ask me for favors often. Al is a con man, a troublemaker, always looking for a score, just doing his thing. Must have intimidated Comcast NBC. Hates whites and cops." On Tuesday, Sharpton responded by tweeting, "Trump says I'm a troublemaker and a con man. I do make trouble for bigots. If he really thought I was a con man, he would want me in his cabinet." Sharpton, known for decades for his involvement in racial controversies, said his planned trip to Baltimore was to, quote, address Trump's remarks and bipartisan outrage in the black community. Here's a brief excerpt from Sharpton's remarks.
We have been talking the last several months about how we must deal with the decrease in black home ownership. Little did I know that Mr. Trump was going to, on the eve of this, attack the congressman from this city. And not only the congressman, but the people of this city, in the most bigoted and racist way. He has a particular venom for blacks and people of color. He doesn't refer to any of his other opponents or critics as infested.
On Thursday, New Hampshire officials from both parties criticized a report about U.S. President Donald Trump calling their state a drug-infested den. Democratic U.S. Senator and former Governor Maggie Hassan said that Trump's comments about New Hampshire are disgusting.
The fact of the matter is, Elijah Cummings' district is the most well-educated and middle-class aspiring district of blacks in this country.
Despite the Great Awakening happening all around him, Sharpton continues to offer up the same tired and dated Democrat talking points. And yet, as a leading Democrat plantation enforcer, Sharpton's racial resentment is echoed throughout the far-left mainstream media. In its mission to forward the deep state's agenda, CNN quickly rallied to Cummings' defense. Senior political commentator Governor Jennifer Granholm shames the Republicans for failing to defend Congressman Cummings.
This president is attempting to divide urban and rural. This is terrible for America. Joe and I were just talking about this, Joe Biden saying that this is about the soul of America, this election will be. Are we a united states of America, or is he just going to divide city and state? We're here in Detroit. I'm waiting for Detroit to be the next city on the block on his chopping block, because it's majority African American. He's already gone after Chicago. We know that. Atlanta. I mean, how often are Republicans going to stand by and say, yeah, this is good for America to divide people like this? I have never seen a nation so divided, and I don't think electorally this is a good strategy for him, but it's certainly not a great strategy for the rest of the Republicans who are sitting on their hands because they're too afraid to come out and oppose the president.
Listen as Cummings himself describes his Baltimore district in 1999.
This morning, I left my community of Baltimore, a drug-infested area, where a lot of the drugs that we're talking about today have already taken the lives of so many children. The same children that I watched 14 or 15 years ago as they grew up, now walking around like zombies.
In a classic display of Democrat projection, leading presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders joined the call to denounce the president as a racist.
Our job is to bring people together to improve life for all people, not to have a racist president who attacks people because they are African Americans. That is a disgrace.
Sanders was vehement in his moral outrage at Trump's supposed racist attack on Baltimore. And yet here's what the senator had to say about the city in 2015.
The fact of the matter is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country where unemployment is over 50%. A community that does not even have decent quality grocery stores where moms can buy quality food for their kids.
In addition to Monday's blasting of Sharpton, the president tweeted that Cummings' district has the worst crime statistics in the nation, calling the congressman's tenure, quote, 25 years of all talk, no action. Trump went on to write, quote, if the Democrats are going to defend the radical left, quote, squad, and King Elijah's Baltimore fail, it will be a long road to 2020. Indeed, even in the face of such clear examples of hypocrisy, party leaders continue to praise Cummings as an honored colleague and a paragon of virtue. The inability of its constituents to recognize this deceit is a testament to the Democrat Party's demonic roots and its hypnotic power over its ranks. The history of the Democrat Party is rooted in the white supremacy of the Roman Catholic Church. It was the 16th century Vatican that countered the Protestant movement and ordered the genocidal assaults by Spanish emissaries on the indigenous peoples of the Americas. Despite its modern-day pose as a friend to the so-called black man, history shows that the Democrat Party from its inception has oppressed the supposed African American people while projecting their Roman racism on the Protestant abolitionists. From slavery to sharecropping to the Ku Klux Klan to Jim Crow to Planned Parenthood's black genocide, the Democrats have relentlessly persecuted the so-called black man in America. On the other hand, the Republicans were founded by free blacks, along with their anti-slavery Protestant allies. The white abolitionists realized that the Democrat Party would eventually seek to enslave them as well, just as its forebearers had done to the Slavic peasants in Europe. It was not Republicans, but Democrats, both black and white, who resisted civil rights and voting rights, sponsored legislation to control the black church and corner the black vote, and engineered a crime bill that decimated the supposed African American community. Today, the fears of those early Protestants have manifested in the globalist plot to destroy Trump's so-called basket of deplorables right along with the supposed African American people. Selah. Over the last few decades in particular, Democrat leadership has proven to be extremely skillful at deception and blame shifting, and ironically, the culmination of 180 years of racist Democrat policy was a grand counterfeit of their fear of the rise of a black messiah, the inauguration of former President Barack Obama. Prophetically speaking, from the onset of the 16th century Renaissance, the world has been deliberately misled into believing the ancient Israelites were Europeans. In 1496, just 4 years after Columbus and the purging of non-Catholics from Spain, Italian artist Michelangelo was commissioned to create portraits and statues of biblical figures commonly known to be dark-skinned Hebrews in his own European image and likeness. And yet to this day, Romanized churchianity insists that the color of Christ is irrelevant. But after 400 years of affliction by the false Christian church, the true identity of the supposed African American people as descendants of ancient Israel is now being revealed. And ironically, this revelation is the answer to America's great moral dilemma, not only to the scourge of white supremacy, but to racial and doctrinal division among the true saints of the Most High. As it is written, the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass in the place where it was said to them, You are not my people. There it shall be said to them, You are the sons of the living God. Then the children of Judah and the children of Israel shall be gathered together, and appoint for themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great will be the day of Jezreel. At the end of the day, President Trump's indictment of the horrific conditions in Congressman Cummings' district in Baltimore has nothing to do with color and everything to do with character. In fact, even though Cummings berated a Homeland Security official for the supposed poor living conditions at the southern border, tens of billions of federal dollars have been allocated to his own district during the Trump administration, and yet the utterly disgraceful conditions under his watch still remain. And now, Cummings' culpability in the form of missing federal funds is being exposed, with current investigations into the personal and business finances of the congressman and his wife. The real truth of the matter is, pay-for-play politics is unlawful, unethical, and immoral, irrespective of race, religion, gender, or national origin. Nevertheless, take heart, you true saints of the Most High. In this glorious new era of the Great Awakening, being a, quote, person of color is no longer an acceptable cover for deception and corruption. In light of the new social media movement, the masses are no longer limited to misinformation and deep state propaganda. Our eyes are wide open. We have awakened from our slumber, and truth and justice for all is what we need to see. The time has finally come when a person will be judged by the content of his character and not the color of his skin. No longer will we regurgitate the dated and fruitless rhetoric of racial resentment, nor will we accept such wickedness from greedy and godless elected officials, whatever their color may be. Hear, O Israel, and hearken, you meek of the earth, unto the sure mercies of David. O Yahweh God, to whom vengeance belongs, shine forth. Rise up, O judge of the earth. Render punishment to the proud. Yahweh, how long will the wicked triumph? They utter speech and speak insolent things. All the workers of iniquity boast in themselves. They break in pieces your people, O Yahweh, and afflict your heritage. They slay the widow and the stranger, and murder the fatherless. Yet they say, Yahweh does not see, nor does the God of Jacob understand. Understand, you senseless among the people, and you fools, when will you be wise? He who planted the ear, shall he not hear? He who formed the eye, shall he not see? He who instructs the nations, shall he not correct? He who teaches man knowledge? Yahweh knows the thoughts of man, that they are futile. Blessed is the man whom you instruct, O Yahweh, and teach out of your law, that you may give him rest from the days of adversity, until the pit is dug for the wicked. For Yahweh will not cast off his people, nor will he forsake his inheritance, but judgment will return to righteousness, and all the upright in heart will follow it. O Abba Yahweh, O Abba Yahweh, let it be just as you have declared from the beginning. Yachai v'hallelujah, Toda Rabbah, and thanks for listening. Until our next report, I'm Yeshua ben Yeshua of the House of David, reminding you to stay vigilant and stay blessed. And remember, it's kingdom time. Shalom.
If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and bell icon to receive instant notifications from KYCN Radio so you'll never miss new uploads. Enjoy your day and thanks for watching.